Hi there, and welcome to How to Coordinate Crisis Response in Your Community. My name is Dory, and I'm partner, co-founder, and CEO with Crisis Support Solutions. And along with my business partner, Joey, we are Team CSS. If you'd like to learn more about us, then feel free to jump over to our About Us page. You can find that on our website, crisissupportsolutions.com. As far as this webinar is concerned, we are here to learn two things. Why should you form a community collaborative or a community crisis response team? And then how do you get started in doing that? So I've chosen to call it a community crisis collaborative because I love alliteration, but my title slide is a little bit different. It says crisis response, a community crisis response team. So whatever it is that you and your community choose to call it, that's what you choose to call it. You get to name it whatever you want to name it. But for the purpose of this webinar, I'm just here to answer. The first is why. Whatever you call it, why should you form one? And my best answer to start with is networking. Whether I'm in a big city or a small town, I want to know who the people and players are around me. I want to know who it is I need to pick up the phone or shoot an email to and ask for this or get clarification on that. I love networking. I want to know who's as passionate about loving and caring for people as I am and who I'm going to meet at 2:00 in the morning when something breaks bad and I show up to help with crisis response. Another reason I love a community collaborative goes along the same lines as networking, and it's sharing resources. Think about it like a picnic. So I have a little bit of food and you have a little bit of food and they over there bring a little bit of food and it ends up being a feast. And that's very similar to this kind of community collaborative is I have a little bit of a budget and you have a little bit of time and you have a little bit of energy and you have a little bit of experience in grant writing and you have a little bit of experience in call out and logistics work and that kind of stuff. So when we bring all of our talents, even if it's just a little bit, we bring our talents to the table and our skills and our abilities and our resources and our understandings, then we're starting to really build something awesome. And I love sharing resources in that way. You also have each other's back. Let's say that something breaks bad, a critical incident happens in my organization. Well, now I'm out of pocket. I'm done for. I'm the one that's in need of support. I'm not somebody that can be on the ground providing support. Well, because I've done all the networking, because I've gone to all the meetings and through the training, I know that I can call so-and-so. I know that I can call you and your team, and you guys are going to assemble and deploy and come over here and work with me and my organization as well. And then finally, this is my favorite reason for starting a crisis community collaborative. It is because while you're building a big crisis team in your community, you're also gaining the knowledge, the insight, the tools, the templates, anything that you need to build a crisis team and a peer support team and a care ministry team in your agency, organization, and congregation. You are literally buying two for the price of one. I love buy one, get one free, and we encourage that because most of the work you're going to be doing is not going to be community crisis work. Thank goodness our communities are not in crisis every day. Let me give you an example of this. On the slide in front of you, it's just a screenshot of another slide of another presentation that I did. Look at the neutral line. See there in the middle of that slide, it says 0. In that box, it says 0. And off to the side, it says neutral. If you drop down below that line, you go from 0 to a negative, and on that line, you'll see my handwriting, a 10. So from 0 to 10 on the bottom, that's considered the bad and the ugly. You see worst and tragedy, okay? That's the area where you're going to deploy your community crisis response. is during the worst, during the natural disasters, during the terrorist attacks, during the active shooter, during the crashes and accidents and explosions and that kind of stuff, where a community is in need of leadership, direction, stabilization, and support. And again, hopefully in your community, that's not happening. That call out is not happening every day. But I tell you what is happening every day in your organization, in your agency, and in your congregation. There are people that are dealing with difficulties every day. Every day, someone is dealing with a stress, work stress, family stress, home life, personal relationships. They need support. They need someone who's been there and done that so they don't feel like an idiot or think that their life is over. They need someone to share with them how they can manage into the next step or the next phase. They need to know that hope is available to them and that it's going to get better because you have the experience of a similar situation and it got better for you. So in our training, we're not just helping you deal with the worst situations, but we're also teaching you how to go back to your families, go back to your congregation and your agency and your organization and work with people, meet with people, care for people, and support people who are dealing with difficulties. It is a win-win-win-win-win-win-win all the way across the board. Now let's talk about the hows, how to form a community crisis collaborative or a crisis response team in your community. So the first, go back to networking, identify your stakeholders. Who are the agencies and organizations and congregations that have a great stake in this community response? So I'm thinking your emergency managers, your first responders, your police, your fire, your sheriff's office, your paramedics, your rescue, your dispatch. Don't forget dispatch and your 911 call operators. Also chaplains on board in those places as well. Nonprofits and your advocacy groups like rape crisis, domestic violence, and so forth. Somebody from your medical community as a hospital rep, your ER, and those types of things. Also, you're going to need mental health professionals as clinicians to consult and to know who your resources are. And then finally, don't forget when I mention congregations, clergy and lay leaders and lay ministers, it is baked into the cake of every congregation that their mission is to love and care for people. And there are people in congregations that are itching to get out of the pew and into the pain. I wrote an ebook about it, and I'm happy to link that as well if you're interested in learning more about that. But definitely get a hold of your churches and don't forget to use them as a resource as well and bring them to the table. Also, you're going to want to draft policy and protocols when the time comes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with that on the slide now because I have a whole free training, which I'll tell you about later on drafting protocols and policy. But because you're bringing all these different agencies and organizations and congregations to the table, everyone needs to know what the expectations are. So just forming an MOU, drafting an MOU, memorandum of understanding. They're coming for me. Or a memorandum of agreement is in a lot of cases will help lower stress and help leaders and decision makers know what's expected of them and what they can expect from their partners in the community as well. You'll also want to identify responders. Now, these are different from stakeholders. These are boots on the ground people that want to get the call at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. and grab their stuff and go running. These are people that want the call out. They want the training. They want to be in the middle of it and put hands on people in a helpful way. And the reason you want to identify the responders is for the next one, because those are the people that you want to put in training. So you'll need to contract trainers, professional trainers that can provide you crisis response training. And I prefer, again, 2 for the price of 1, to also help support people dealing with a difficulty as well. So whether you go with us, we would love for you to do that. But whether you go with us or someone else, Make sure that all responders are training at the same time. That is vital to build relationships, to build network, to build group cohesion, and all of the above. Also, the second thing when it comes to training, make sure that your training is scenario based, so that as you're going through your training, you're doing group exercises, tabletop exercises, organized response, call out exercises, and the most important, role play exercises as well. So make sure your training includes all of that practice. There should be as much practice, if not more practice, than there is lecture, in my humble opinion. All right, now what? Hopefully I've given you enough of why and how that you're ready to get to work. Let's do this. So what do you need to do first? Well, I'd say share this video with stakeholders. And if you haven't identified who your stakeholders are, then make that your first priority or your first assignment. Who are the potential partners that can join you in this quest to explore if a community response team is right for you? If you come across some issues or concerns and you're not really sure about, then you can shoot me an email, info@crisissupportsolutions.com. We'll set up a free call and I'll be more than happy to talk with you through some of those things that you've got going on there. Also, I've mentioned I've got some free templates I would love to share with you. A letter to the leader and an action memo explaining exactly what it is that you're looking for within your organization. Mainly your leaders are going to want to know, how much is this going to cost me? How much is this going to hit our budget? So we've included a training cost guide as a free download as well. So you guys in your meeting can get to know what as a community and independently what your individual agencies are going how much it's going to cost. And speaking of that, once you get a little bit of buy-in, then put a discovery meeting together. Email them and say, hey, let's meet at the diner. Let's meet at the coffee shop. Let's meet at the fellowship hall. And let's talk about working through this. If you like this video, then like this video. It's just that simple. If you like this video, then share this video, just like I mentioned in the last one of the previous slides. Get to know people. Use this as a resource to say, hey, check this video out, and then call me after and let me know what you think. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time and going through this as a potential resource for you and your community. In the meantime, my name is Dory. Anything I can help you with, info@crisissupportsolutions.com. Until that time, continue good care.